Thank you. I'll try to do it once again. Yajnartat karmanonyatra
यज्ञार्थकर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
मुक्ता संगसमाचर
मुक्ता संगसमाचर
synonyms. Or somebody wants to try again, we can read it.
Let's move.
Okay, synonyms. Yajna arthat, done only for the sake of Yajna or Vishnu. Karmanaha, then work. Anyatra, otherwise. Lokaha, world. Ayam, this. Karma bandhanaha, bondage by work. Tat, of him. Artham, for the sake. Karma, work. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Mukta Sangaha, liberated from association. Samachara, do perfectly. Translation: work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage.
Sandeep or Madhu, you want to go ahead with the puppet?
Okay, I will read.
Yeah, I'm muting myself.
Since since one has to, just a second, the screen went away. Just since one has to work even for the simple maintenance of the body, the prescribed duties of for a particular social position and quality are so made that the purpose can be fulfilled. Yajna means Lord Vishnu or sacrificial performances. All sacrificial performances also are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. Oh, the Vedas enjoin Yagno Vai Vishnu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs prescribed yajnas or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yajna as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnashrama institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Please help me with the next entire sentence.
Varnashrama charavata purushena paraha puman Vishnu Raradhyathe. Vishnu Purana 3.8.8. So he's given a verse from Vishnu Purana which says that the Varnashrama institution, which is the Chaturvarna Chaturashrama, aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Okay. You can continue with the next paragraph, somebody.
Okay. Madhu, you want to do the next paragraph?
Yeah. Therefore, one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world will be a cause of bondage, for both good and evil work have their reactions, and any reaction binds the performer. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu, and while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is the great act of doing work, and in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work. nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the reaction of work, but also gradually elevate one to transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God.
Yeah, Madhu, or you want to put out your thoughts.
No, actually, what I understand by this is, see, everything what we work, like we have been working. My grandfather or grandmother used to say, whenever they used to do some visit to the temple, or giving some donation to some temples or to the beggars, they used to always utter this word like Shivarpanam or Krishnarpanam. So we are whatever we are. Arpan means that is we are giving. So whatever we are doing, so we are dedicating it to the Supreme. So that's what I can understand up to my level of this.
So I'll add some comments here for this shloka, which is Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter, 9th shloka. So this Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter is highlighting for us about the Karma Yoga. In the previous chapter, in the 2nd chapter, it is talking about the Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is talking about the balance of our being. This being is working towards a balance in his material body, in his emotional body, and in his basically the spiritual body, such that we are in a balanced state of mind. So in the Sankhya Yoga, it was Bhagavad Gita has completely highlighted and given us the tips and techniques how to achieve it. There it was very clearly saying in the 2nd chapter that one has to understand that this entire cosmos is Parabrahman's giving. It is all he is the owner of everything. So when he is the owner of everything, if we are taking it without offering it whatever he has given it to us, even in whether it is phalam, pushpam or toyam, like he says, if you're not offering it back, it becomes like a theft. It is becoming like a theft. So the moment we are doing such kind of a theft of different things at different levels, we are getting attached or becoming bondage to those kind of things, and it's becoming a cycle of karmic effects where we are taking sequential or umpteen number of births and deaths, forgetting about our pure conscious self, and we are getting ourselves bondaged into these materialistic aspects of our life. Now in the Karma Yoga here in the chapter 3 Bhagavad Gita, through Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is clearly giving us the technique of how to be doing the Karma Yoga. One of the important techniques he is offering here is to do yajna. Now when we are talking about this yajna, we should understand there are different types of yajna. And it is broadly divided into 6 categories. Yajna is broadly divided into 6 categories. So whenever we perform a yajna, there is something called as ishti. Ishti means the kind of offering. After we perform our yajna, the fruit of it is called as the ishti, or the offerings of the Purnam is called as the ishti, which is being offered to the god, which is carried by the Agni Deva and then offered back to the respective god. Now, irrespective of whatever is the form that we are praying, this ishti is being offered to that specific Lord. For example, in the 6 categories, the first one is for a very short period. It could be for 1 hour or 2 hour kind of an activity where we are performing small vratas and small yajna homas for a specific కోరిక, ఒక స్పెషల్ డిజైర్. నేను ఇంట్లోకి వచ్చాను, పాలు పొంగించాను, ఇంట్లో గురించి ఒక హోమం చేశాను, ఒక యజ్ఞం చేశాను, నాదంతా కూడా మంచిగా ఉండేటట్టు గణపతి స్వామి చూడు అని అన్న గణపతికి ఆఫర్ చేస్తున్నాం ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. ఆర్ వీఆర్ ఆఫరింగ్ ఫర్ సే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సత్యనారాయణ వ్రతం, a small vratam, and then we are performing a small yajna. It could be for 1 hour or 2 hours. It's called as the ishti yajna. It's for just only 1 hour or 2 hours. Then there is a second category of a thing which is called as a homa. This carries for almost 1 day of an activity, 1 day. It's called as homa yajna. So for example, it could be like a chandi homa, or it could be, there are vast kinds of homas which are existing. Or I do a purashcharana of a particular mantra, and then I want to offer the 1/10 aspect of that, which might take me anywhere between 8 to 24 hours. So if it is 24 hours, it is called as a homa, 1 day. Generally, people consider from sunrise to sunset as one homa or 1 day. The third category is called as the yajna. This yajna, it goes on for a little bit longer period. It could be like 3 days, 5 days, 11 days, or 30 days. It is called as the the next category of yajna, which is called as the yajna. Okay, that is for 3 days, 5 days, 11 days, or 30 days. The higher level of that is called as the mahayagam. Mahayagam is for 1 month or 2 months. There is another set which is there, which is being performed for 6 months to 1 year. That is called as advaram. It's called as advaram, means it is being performed for 6 months to 1 year. There is the highest level which is called as the satram. Satra yajnam. Satra yajnam. This goes on for 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, thousands of years. That is called as satram, satra yajnam. So like Anand was also highlighting, there are different yajnas as based on the yugas also. For the Kali Yuga, the simplest and the best technique of doing a yajnam is the japa yajnam. That is the reason it is always advised to seek the mantram from a bona fide guru, or directly from Lord himself, Lord Narayana himself. The moment we are performing this particular yajna, there is a portion of it which is automatically being offered to the Vishnu. The meaning of Vishnu is the all-pervading. That is Vishnu. The meaning of Vishnu is all-pervading. That means, say, the tattva of Vishnu element is present whether it is an animate being or an inanimate body. It could be a stone, it could be a tree, it could be a bird, animal, insect, microbe, virus, human being, whatever is the form. Air, water, you name the thing, because all through these kind of objects which is in this Brahmanda is all pervading with the Vishnu Tattva. The very word meaning of Vishnu is the all pervading. So this particular all pervading Vishnu automatically receives or takes a portion of this particular yajna the moment we perform our yajna, our activities as a yajna. It is automatically going to him, irrespective we are offering whether we are doing any of those 6 forms of the yajna, whether it is for 1 hour, 2 hours. We are already offering to Parabrahma the offering. Okay, so it becomes a non-bonding kind of a karma. We are doing it for a 1 day. It's already being offered to Vishnu. We are doing it for 3 days, 5 days, or 11 days, or 30 days, or 3 months, or 1 year, and the best satvara. We are doing it for the, for example, satram. We are doing it for lifelong, 50 years, 100 years. Automatically, we are offering. So the technique that is being offered here is to offer everything, whatever we are doing, as a yajna. If this consciousness we have in performing each of our activity, if our focus is not on the sense gratification, but for the gratification of the Supreme Being, the Parabrahman, automatically all our activities are being offered to Him. So, like in the Sankhya Yoga also, where it was saying that every activity we are performing, we perform it as an offering, whether I'm taking food or I am getting some kind of my salary today, or I am getting a business profit today, no, or I am getting a kind of a rice in my home, a bags kind of thing, or my groceries I'm getting, or I am giving something to somebody. We give it as an offering to Sri Mahavishnu, as a all-pervading Vishnu. Then each of these karmas, they do not get attached, they do not produce a bondage for us. The moment there is no bondage, there is this kind of a glow which comes in the human being's activity. Whether it is I, when I'm performing, you can see that kind of a glow, that kind of an energy. Similarly, when you perform your activities, there will be a separate glow which one can beautifully understand, he can beautifully experience us. So the way we have to perform each and every activity is with this kind of a consciousness in our awareness, that I am performing this activity as a service, as offering the all-pervading Vishnu. The moment this kind of performance we do it, we do not get attached to any kind of bondage. In this Kali Yuga, the best way to perform that is through Japa Yoga or Japa Sadhana or Mantra Sadhana or Nama Sadhana, because performing the Satram kind of a yajna for us otherwise becomes very, very difficult. We will not be able to perform such kind of an satram kind of a yajnam which goes for 50 years or 100 years. It's impossible for us to perform. We will not be able to perform it. But otherwise, the best technique which is being offered here is to bring our consciousness to offer everything whatever I am doing in my activities as a yajna, as an offering. I will never, I don't want to use the word sacrifice. Sacrifice is a very big word, you know. When I say sacrifice, it means to say, I am not taking it. Without me taking it, I'm giving it to you. What is it that we have to give a sacrifice, you know? It's really difficult for me to, you know, accept the word sacrifice when I want to perform a yajna. Yajna cannot be a sacrifice. Yajna is an activity, full stop. It's an offering, full stop. It is a service, full stop. It is not a sacrifice. Sacrifice means I am not taking it, but I'm giving it to you. It's a sacrifice. I am not taking the pleasure, but I'm giving to you. It's a sacrifice. Bullshit. I am offering to you. It is different. With this mindset, when we look at it, our entire approach to that, our attitude shifts, it changes. It brings our mind at a kind of a peace, without any kind of a bewilderment, any kind of a confusion, because I know already in my being, in my materialistic being, in my Atman, I clearly understand that all these things are not mine. Tera tujko arpan. It is yours, including me. It so happened that I am in a small level. I want to offer it to you. Please accept it. That is the only thing what we can do. I am not doing any kind of a sacrifice. I am only offering the thing to you, which with full love and affection, I'm offering this back to you. What is it that I can offer? Is my consciousness, which you have given it to me. I am offering it back to you. My consciousness is there with you. Shivarpanamastu, Krishnarpanamastu. Amma, Sampurnanga Nike Istunanu. Shivarpanamastu. So that kind of an attitude when we have, none of our activity will produce a bondage. The karma will not impact us. It will help us to ignite the sattva guna in us. Instead of being at the rajasic or at the tamo guna or tamasic kind of a level of our activities, our actions, our performances become purer and purer, and they become sattvic in nature. The moment we are offering, not like a sacrifice, but as an offering of love, of complete love, and a nature of giving. It becomes a habit, whether we are giving it to ourselves, whether we are giving it to our family members, or I'm giving it to my employees in my organization. I'm performing an activity for my organization. I will see my CEO, for example, as a Krishna himself or as Lord Parabrahma himself, and then I'm doing my activity. My job I'm seeing as a Parabrahman. I'm offering my job. I'm doing my work. Am I able to offer the best what he has offered me as a skill set in me? Am I giving that to the best of the extent? Am I offering it back to you? The moment we are able to see that, we start becoming more and more sattvic in nature, without any of the previously learned being attached to any of the Arishad Vargas. All the 6 Arishad Vargas, where the core is the kama or the lust. So without any kind of a kama, krodha, moha, mada, matsarya, lobha, so we will not get attached. All our activities start becoming sattvic in nature once we start offering with loving, as a loving towards the Parabrahma, as a total love, as a transcendent. So therefore, we transgress. I want to differentiate the meaning between the transgress and transcendental. Transgress is against the accepted laws or norms of a particular activity, is called as transgress. Transcendental means we start moving from the one level to the next level. Transcendental, there are different levels of transcendental activities. Transgress is we are going against the normal, regular, known laws of a general norms and policies kind of stuff. So once we understand these differences, we will be able to work better, and all our offerings will be sattvic offerings as yajna. The 6th highest level of yajna, which is satram, to be offered for 50 years or 100 years or thousands of years, because we know from the previous Sankhya Yoga that we are neither born nor will we be born, nor any time will we die, only changing the body. So if we can bring this into our consciousness very strongly, and then start offering everything from this kind of an awareness, moment by moment, that I am offering it back to you with love. None of them belongs to me as a sattvic. Then our love for Supreme Parabrahman enhances with the quality of a purity which he loves the most. It could be the smallest thing. So that is the technique, what is being offered as an offering to do as a yajna, each and every activity of the shloka 3.9 of Bhagavad Gita. So with this, I stop my comments. Any other comments? Please go ahead. Hello?
Yeah, absolutely fine, Nero. Very good explanation. No comments from my side.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, it is 9:52 now.
Yeah.
Sandeep, then if we have any pointers, we can do it, or we can close our session. It's 9:52 p.m.